Hi, welcome to another episode of VIP Awani. I'm very glad to have with me today the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize for 1996, President Jose Ramos-Horta from Timor-Leste. Thank you so much for making time to be on VIP Awani, Mr. President. There was a lot of information on East Timor and later on Timor-Leste going around the world, even to Malaysia, during the conflict years. Now that there's peace, independence, and development, we have less news of Timor-Leste. So if you can please highlight to us what's the situation now in Timor-Leste.
Well, unfortunately, in regards to media in general, we can say no news is good news. It's not always like that. You have situations where in remote corners of the world people are dying silently. And that is news, but is no news in regards to the media. In the case of East Timor, in 2006 we had our first major political and security tension crisis that erupted at end of May, particularly got worse when we asked for outside help. Particularly when our police imploded in the capital, unable to fulfill their duties to restore law and order. There was conflict between the police and the army, and there were even some shootout between the two institutions, followed by gang warfare in Dili that left many thousands of people homeless. So we asked for Malaysia's assistance together with Australia, New Zealand and Portugal. So these countries, 4 countries, came to our rescue immediately. In the case of Malaysia, it was remarkable. I spoke with the foreign minister at the time, current Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Dr. Razak. Cabinet made a decision within hours, agreeing to our request. And within a week, 2 Malaysian warships and the paratroopers, soldiers arrived. So it was a remarkable quick response. Since the situation has calmed down, we had elections in 2007, free democratic elections, and we had some lingering problems, tensions, but in 2008 situation more significantly calmed down, the economy recovering, the problem of IDPs, this internally displaced persons, was resolved. We had an economic growth last year of 10%, a real growth, non-oil growth, so I think we are doing well.
We know you now as president, but the world has always known you as a freedom fighter, as a human rights advocate and fighter. And there's no greater sacrifice than taking a bullet for what you believe in. And that happened to you. More than one bullet we were made to understand. You were attacked and you were shot, and you spent time in coma in Australia, for example. How does that change your perspective, or does that reinforce anything? How do you see life and your struggles after that particular episode?
Well, you might recall the instance when there was incredible killings soon after India's independence from Britain. Muslim and Hindus in the late 40s and 50s, and Mahatma Gandhi went on hunger strike. Only his near death stopped the
madness from continuing.
The madness. When I was shot February 11, the country went into a state of shock. No one could understand why, of all people, I should be targeted, because I was one that was spearheading the dialogue. I was always advocating dialogue with the so-called rebel elements who are heavily armed. I opposed the use of force. I met with them many times, created a trust in them, and they said publicly and to everybody, I was the only leader in the country they trusted. I was the only one they knew was not involved in the messy crisis of 2006. So they believed I could resolve the conflict. Then suddenly I was shot. The man who involved in the attack on me, and is now dead, he was shot dead by my security. He was a real psychopath, a madman, unstable. And no amount of dialogue was able to really soothe the problems in his mind. And because of what happened to me, the country stepped back from the brink of civil war. What I fear most as I was lying there bleeding is that if I were to die, people will start killing each other.
That thought came to you
yes.
when you were lying down,
Yes,
hurt.
Yeah. And I told the some security people that soon after rushed to see me, and I said, you know, what's going to happen to this country? Because I knew, you know, if I were to die from that incident, there will be a significant violence. So the country was literally paralyzed, shell shock. Everybody waited, and well, I survived. I was hit twice, close range, powerful rifle, explosive bullets. The doctors were surprised that when I got to the clinic, I had lost more than 4 liters of blood out of 5. So they were surprised that and I was still talking and calmly explaining to the doctors what had happened. No vital organ had been affected. In spite of 2 bullets, shot close range, explosive bullets that explode on impact, didn't cause any major damage in internal organs. So I was put to sleep for the following 10 days, induced coma because of the pain resulting from the wounds and surgery.
It was said that you turned your body.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that helps?
Oh yes, absolutely. I saw my assailant at close range. I saw him lifting the rifle, aiming at me. I turned quick and to run. That's when he hit me in the back on the right side. If I had not turned, I would have been hit probably in the face, on the chest, and it would be instant.
Going forward, has that experience changed you in any way?
Well, I wouldn't say change me for better or for worse. Maybe even for my own security, you know, I still don't like too much security. That is very constraining on my freedom, my movement. I still enjoy meeting people. I go out often. I go to the villages. It hasn't really changed. I remain the same person as before. If anything, maybe I appreciate life even more.
We have to go to our first commercial break now, but don't go away because when we come back, more from President Jose Ramos-Horta. And he's here, made possible by the International Peace Foundation because of the Bridges series, creating dialogues that goes towards a culture of peace. Thank you for still watching VIP Awani, and I'm here with President Jose Ramos-Horta of Timor-Leste. We want to share you with the world now. Your expertise is not only confined to Timor-Leste. You have a lot to share in the fighting for freedom and human rights for everyone around the world. You've spoken a few days ago on Mindanao, for example. But there are a lot of hope now. President Barack Obama, being in charge of the United States of America, has given people around the world hope. There's this global citizenship that People have solidarity across continents and borders and race and religions. But we still have big conflicts around the world. We have conflicts recently in Gaza which cannot be accepted at any level. We have conflicts even within our near countries like Myanmar still pending, not being solved. How do you look at all this?
Well, the election of President Barack Obama is no doubt an extraordinary event. For me, it is almost like God has done finally justice to the black man. After thousands of years, going back to the Roman times, when blacks were enslaved, and then through the European colonization, uprooted by the millions from their ancestral homes in Africa to the Americas, and then used and abused, until only a few decades ago. And it seemed like God decided to redress this injustice done to blacks and decided to put